Okay, topic number 2. We've talked previously about this rumored Atari console, and some more details came out, but not a lot. So they showed a picture of the box. I want to see if I can actually get... Where's the actual PR piece? Let's see if I can pull it up.
While you're looking for that, they are delivering on one thing I requested.
Which is?
Wood grain.
Yeah, which is awesome. You know what I mean? If there's one thing I think about...
I need more wood grain.
If there's one thing that I think about is that old Atari 2600 with wood. I mean, let's be honest. As a piece of, if you're trying to grab retro nostalgia, they successfully did it with this. This does look. It reminds me of the old Atari generation. I think that's cool. I even the top, the way it kind of steps up and there's no buttons up there, still the silhouette of the Atari's there.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. Now, we know that it's going to come with an SD card slot, HDMI output, and 4 USB ports. There's been no mention of the specs of this thing. But
they said it's going to be on par with current consoles.
What the hell does that mean?
So with PlayStation 4s, Xbox One.
Challenge months ahead. We'll keep you posted.
Because they want to have current titles as well as their old stuff.
Oh, here we go. Here's an actual from the ATARIBOX project team. This is what I was looking for. Our objective is, because remember previously I said there's no way in hell this is not going to be anything more than like an NES Classic Edition box where it's just going to have a bunch of retro games built into it. And you actually said, no, it's probably going to have some newer modern games. According to this, you look completely right. I look completely wrong. And I mean, they've even said, no, it's not. They've even specifically said, well, let me read it. Our objective is to create a new product that stays true to our heritage while appealing to both old and new fans of Atari. Let me pause right there. No, I'm going to keep going. I'll get into my rant in a second. Inspired by classic Atari design elements, such as the iconic use of wood, ribbed lines, and raised back. Got to give it to them there. Looks freaking awesome for those of us that remember it. We are creating a smooth design with ribs that flow seamlessly all around the body of the product, a front panel that can be either wood or glass, or front-facing logo, indicator lights that glow through the material, and an array of new ports, HDMI, 4 USB, and an SD card reader. We intend to release 2 editions, a wood edition and a black-red edition. As you can guess, those ports suggest modern internal specs, which I'm assuming is what you mean. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean PS4, Xbox One quality, but it does say modern, which means it's not just old school classic edition. Yeah. It also means that while we will be delivering classic gaming content, we will also be delivering current gaming content. We'll get to that in a second. We know you are hungry for more details on specs, games, features, pricing, timing, etc. We're not teasing you intentionally. We want to get this right, so we've opted to share things step by step as we bring ATARIBOX to life and to listen closely to Atari community feedback as we do so. There are a lot of milestones, challenges, and decision points in front of us. This is all from Kotaku, by the way. So you guys know if you want to go look this up for yourself. There are a lot of milestones, challenges, decisions, points in front of us in the months ahead. We'll be giving you lots more information and status updates as we progress, and we are thrilled to have you along for the ride. Hope you like where we are taking this. We'll be in touch soon. The ATARIBOX project team. All right. First of all, you're clearly right. This is not just an old school nostalgia box.
Yeah, because you can buy that right now.
Yeah. No, in fact,
I sent you a picture of it, actually.
Yeah, At Games announced they're doing retro editions of both the Sega Genesis and the ATARIBOX. So that would be what the nostalgia console is. And those launch July 28th. No, I'm sorry. They starting July 28th, you can purchase them. They launch in the fall. But those are called flashback consoles. The ATARIBOX, completely different. Let's talk about this PR thing that they put out, because what the fuck is this? Not just the box itself, but this statement is so contradictory. I love the design. Think that's cool. But here's where I think that this gets weird. First of all, when they say not just classic gaming, but current gaming content, cool. Doesn't really give us an answer. It implies something today worthy, but that could mean anything. You can get games on your Apple TV. They're not as good as like a PlayStation or Xbox. You know what I mean? So we have no idea the level of fidelity that the games are going to be. Okay, so they're teasing us. Cool. Then they specifically say, we know you're hungry for details. We want to get this right. We're not teasing you intentionally. bull fucking shit. That's the whole point of this statement. And putting something out and not
a press release. Yeah.
That is the definition of what you're doing. So this statement by itself, like if they would have left out this bottom paragraph, I would have been, okay, cool. They're teasing a little stuff out. What we talked about before, they're trying to get the hype train stacked up a little bit, which I think could be detrimental or really good. I just hope you can fucking deliver on this being really cool. So far, I'm not sold, but whatever. But the fact that they choose to try to soften the punch by saying, we're not trying to tease you intentionally, shut the fuck up. That is exactly what you're doing. This came from a PR department. They know exactly what they're doing. That is their entire fucking job. All you did is show us pictures of this device, mention current gaming, and that you're not going to tell us anymore, and then say, but we're not trying to tease you. What are your thoughts on this? This is so fucking weird.
Vague. The more I read it, the more I think this is going to fall flat before it even goes to the stores.
Yeah.
I mean, this to me has Jaguar written all over it.
You think?
Oh, I mean, at some point, somebody's going to start asking questions about money.
Yeah. Actually,
for a company that's newly off of bankruptcy, and it just makes me worry.
The more you say that, the more I think you're right. Because if they're going to try to get developers to make game for this, how does that make them different from an actual console? This is an actual console, and that's just what Jaguar did.
Because how much of their own content do they actually own? I was trying to think, what does Atari have licensed?
Yeah.
Because I know they have some software, but what games does Atari own that they're going to bring to this exclusively that's going to get a market share? And that's the only way you're going to enter.
With this PR speak, it's like there's this huge Atari group of fans out there that's always been hoping and wishing that their time to shine would come back.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are these people? Do you know any? I know anybody I know.
They're 55 and 60 right now.
I was going to say, I don't. Oh, great. I didn't turn on Do Not Disturb. Anybody I talk to, if we talk about the NES, they know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, if we talk about Nintendo 64 or Sega or whatever, how many people do you know that are like, man, remember those glory Atari days? Or, boy, if there's one thing I'm missing right now, we got to get some River Raid and some shitty edition of Pac-Man on there. That's fucking nobody.
Yeah.
It just kind of seems like they're trying to pretend there's something that they're not. And they're trying to build a lot of hype when, man, I hope they can deliver, because you're right. It seems like they're trying to really create a bubble for something that until it can really deliver and prove that you can get a fourth tier console out there.
Yeah, especially with Nintendo coming so strong.
Yeah, no shit. And they kind of have really segmented pieces of the markets that are firmly theirs without much, overlap.
Yeah.
I don't think we have room for a fourth, especially Atari.
No, it's just like, when I think about the Jaguar, I also kind of group the Neo Geo in on it. Both consoles that came out were supposed to be like super impressive, but just completely fell flat.
Yeah.
I think Neo Geo was pricing
and
limited content.
Mm-hmm. Neo Geo kind of had a different, they had a different market segment they were going after. They were going for the actual, not like arcade version, the arcade game you can bring home.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the exact same Neo Geo game you're playing in the arcade that was at the time like, 120 meg when our games at home are like 1 or 2 meg. You can buy, but each game itself is like $140, and the system itself was, $400 or something?
It was crazy.
Uh-huh.
It was the most expensive one at the time.
Right. Yeah, so only I don't know anybody that had Neo Geo. I don't know about you.
I just remember seeing them in the game stores.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You could pick one up now, probably dirt cheap.
That's true.
I mean, think about those Neo Geo games, though. They had like a racing game and they had fighting games.
Oh, dude, Metal Slug.
Because they had whole consoles, yeah.
Yeah, and all the Neo Geo arcade classics are all coming to the Switch. I mean, they launched with like 3 or 4 of them. I got Metal Gear the first day I got a Switch, which I still love playing. That is such a fun game, and that's a whole series. Metal Gear 2 just came out in the Switch, or it's about to. They got like those fighting games, Fatal Fury, King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown, which was a big one. That's coming to the Switch here in a few days. That was really cool. But as far as this Atari box,
it's for Atari content.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting. Pitfall, Joust.
Where would you say
an updated version of Riding Ostriches?
What was that?
That was Joust.
Oh, because I remember Joust on the Nintendo. I never.
I remember it on the Atari.
Really?
That and Pitfall.
Because they have done remakes of those old classic games, but put them out on multiple systems and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Atari, because that was Pitfall was an Activision game, so that's not an Atari game.
Yeah, you can buy discs even for my PS4 that are all games that used to be on Ataris.
Yeah. Well, this will be interesting to see what they go. Where do you think that this has moved the pendulum for you anymore as far as the potential? Yeah.
No.
I think it'll
You'd be better off selling me an empty box with wood grain
I know.
for $40 than try to sell me another console.
Now, if this was just an Android box like a Retro Pi that you could install your own software on and it looked like that, I would much rather buy that device than assemble a Raspberry Pi myself. That would be so cool. That would be like the perfect device if you wanted to do emulation at home. I think that would be kick-ass. In fact, if this thing is hackable, then I might completely change my mind and think, for that reason alone, that would be really cool to do that. But I don't wish Atari not to be successful. I just don't see how this would work, and I've got a feeling a year from now we're going to be looking back at this PR statement thinking, man, that's some pretty big talk and some pretty bizarre language to not tease when you're clearly trying to tease for something that ultimately didn't deliver. But again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that this is really cool, but who fucking knows? But
I don't know. After that statement, I wonder if it'll even make it to store shelves.
You don't think at this point? That'd be super embarrassing if they did now.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd think at this point you're going to make an announcement. You'd be prototyping. You'd be testing. I mean, I wouldn't just come out and say this like, you know what I just thought of? We should have an Atari box. Mm-hmm. Let's tell everyone.
I'm wondering if this is just going to be like an Android device box like that, what's it called? The NVIDIA Shield that you can do, which is basically like a RetroPie, but very powerful. It's got a decently powered Tegra processor from, I think it's NVIDIA or ATI in it, similar to the processor that's in the Switch, so you can do powerful stuff on it. A lot of people use that NVIDIA Shield just as their Plex, not client, but server. And if that is the case, again, I would rather have an Atari box that has that kind of functionality than anything else. But I can't see anything else it could be. It's got to be, right? It's got to be an Android box in there.
I have no idea. Complete new software. Atari's own operating system.
Yeah, who knows?
Atari TV. I mean, let's put it on.
The good ideas just keep coming, dude. You need to be writing these down.
Atari VR.
Sending this to them is where the disconnect is. We got to make sure that they're thinking.
I feel like I'm in the boardroom.
Well, for those of you watching, what do you think about all this? Because we're at a loss. We're baffled and confused. But our curiosity is definitely piqued if that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, but they're not teasing.
Yeah. Right, they're not teasing. Remember, no matter what they say, even though they're just showing you the outside of the box, but they're not going to tell you what's in it, what's coming, they're not teasing.
They're not.
Let us know what you think about that in the comments below.